Hey everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We just ended our 5-day challenge on our private Facebook group on just being able to get up and get moving and get started. And I wanted to bring an expert on, Janice Thornton, to talk to us about what that looks like and how that works for us and if it really matters versus, getting up and moving versus sitting on the couch and watching a movie and living more of a sedentary lifestyle. So before we begin, I would like to have Janice take a few minutes and kind of introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her background, because I think your background is so interesting. So let's turn the time over to you.
Hey, thanks, Shannon. So I'm Janice Thornton. I have been in the health and wellness industry for over 30 years. And I have a master's degree in exercise physiology, and I emphasized in cardiac rehab. So I've spent a lot of time working with people who've had a heart attack, bypass surgery, strokes, and those types of patients. And then I've also spent a lot of time just working with regular adults as well. After 10 years of being in that industry, I did get a little burned out, and I switched over to pharmaceutical sales. Did pharmaceutical sales for 14 years, and it was a great experience for me, to say the least, and it gave me a great insight into the industry as well. And I've come to realize that I truly want to help people get off of medications, because there are so many things that you can do just in natural ways that you don't need all of these medications. And of course, with the doctor's help, we can help get you off of probably 90% of medications that people take. And I think that's what people don't realize is eating healthier and exercise, they are great drugs when you put them together, that it is something that you don't even have to swallow that pill. And Shannon, if we could develop that great pill, let's do it. We'd be billionaires.
Right, yes.
But I did get laid off 6 times after that, and decided though to get back into personal training and working with individuals to help them become healthier again and in more natural ways. And so I've developed an online personal training business, because so many people, they want something now and they don't have time to go to a trainer, yet you can have me, a trainer, at your fingertips, and still giving you the advice and the encouragement that you need, and still be able to get your workouts in, but on your time.
That's great. So going back to like your pharmaceutical sales and working in cardiac rehab, is that what you said, cardiac rehab?
Yeah, cardiac rehab.
Okay, I was making sure I had the right terminology. Was there one moment where you realized, was there one life-changing moment, or was it kind of a combination of a lot of different things that made you kind of realize that exercise and diet were the most important things?
The most life-changing thing for me was I actually got to see open heart surgery. I'm physically standing right behind the surgeon as they're cutting open the chest. I'm standing next to the surgeon when they're cutting open the guy's leg. And literally, I got to make sure I can get my fingers. The guy had this much fat sitting on top of his heart. And I was beyond mortified when I saw that. And I was standing next to the surgeon when he was cutting open his legs, and there were all these little fat pockets. I was just like, what is that? And he said, oh, that's just fat. And I was shocked, because I had no idea that our bodies did that. But until you see it live, and I will say that was life-changing for me, to be like, I truly don't want to let myself get to that position, and I want to be able to help others not be in that position as well.
Was this person severely overweight, or how would you kind of categorize them? Would you categorize them as overweight or obese, or, what?
He was obese. He probably weighed 250 to 300 pounds. It was a male, and definitely obese. So, but again, even if you think about, if you're 80 pounds overweight or 50 pounds overweight, and you've got more fat in your legs or whatever, those same fat pockets are still going to be there.
Yeah. This is just kind of interesting to me. So I mean, what did his life look like that, do you think? I mean, do you have much background on him to get him to that point of having to have open heart surgery and surgery on his leg and all these different things? I guess I can draw some of the conclusions of it being hard for him to breathe, and, it would be hard for him to get in and out of chairs and walking upstairs. Like, maybe talk about the quality of life that someone like that would deal with.
So, for example, I had a lot of patients who were actually in his shoes, and it's just what you said. They have a hard time getting out of a chair. So that means if you have a hard time getting out of a chair, that means you have a hard time just getting off a toilet. I mean, I'm going to go there because
yeah, absolutely.
Day. Carrying groceries in from the car can be difficult. Just moving from one chair to another, or like I said, just to get up, or for them to climb a set of stairs is difficult. But then that takes away from you spending quality time with your family, with your kids, with your grandkids. And those are the types of things that I want to be able to help people get stronger with, because it's so important that we do. I mean, eating healthy obviously is so important. It's 80% of the equation. However, that 20% of doing the workouts and doing strength training is so important. So that way we are physically actually strong. And I think about even older adults who, unfortunately, when someone tries to rob them or they can't, I saw some people just the other day in walkers walking down the street, and I'm thinking, gosh, they're like a perfect target for people because they're just pushing their little walker, minding their own business. At the same time, I want people, gosh, when you're 70 and 80, I want you to be able to walk like a normal person and be able to stand up tall and walk confidently and just be able to take on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kind of maybe deviate. I had some questions, you guys, for Janice that I wrote down, but we might deviate a little bit, because that kind of brings up a good point on the aging process. So what happens with someone who is exercising and eating healthy during the aging process, 50, 60, 70, versus someone who hasn't, or maybe stops because they're like, well, I'm 40 and I'm just getting old, and they kind of dismiss, I work with a lot of people in their 30s and 40s, and they're like, well, I'm just getting old, so these aches and pains are normal. And I'm like, oh, whoa, it doesn't have to be normal, Yeah. So maybe talk on that for just a second.
Okay, so first, when we hit our 30s, our metabolism really starts to slow down. And that's where weight training is so important, because it increases our metabolism. It gives us muscle mass. We want muscle mass for sure well into our 80s, 90s, and if we live to be 100. If you look at people who are in their 80s, 90s, and 100s and doing really well, they all are really active individuals. And active for them, that doesn't mean they're running a marathon every day or whatever, but they're getting out there, they're going for walks, they're doing weight training. And I swear to God, I just saw this one guy, and I think he's like 102. I'm like, I think he can do more than I am, and I'm half his age. Yeah. Just like, wow. But he was just going after it when it came to being active. It's sad to me that someone would say, oh, I'm hitting my 40s, I'm just old, that's why I'm achy. And okay, so let's talk about the power of having strong muscles. Is it helps support those knees. At the age of 35, I had to quit tennis because I really couldn't physically go up and down stairs anymore. And I remember thinking to myself, how on earth, what am I going to be like when I'm 50? I can barely walk upstairs today. But then I really began to realize and really got more into strength training. And I just had such an imbalance in my muscles because I focused so much on just going out to play tennis. And I wasn't doing the strength training to go along with my tennis. And it just gave my knees a huge imbalance. Had I thought, oh my gosh, I'm just getting older, I need to live with these aches and pains, I have much less aches and pains today than I did when I was 35 years old and I'm 51. So I'm a walking proof that doing strength training on a regular basis helps you reduce those aches and pains, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So that kind of brings me into my first questions. What can you tell us what happens when we get up and we just start moving, even if it's just for a walk or some light stretching or something? So if somebody is, 250 pounds, 300 pounds, what's going to be the best place for them to start? Or if they haven't exercised, in 10 years or, 5 years or 3 years or whatever, what's going to be the best thing for them to start doing?
I'm always going to recommend, like if someone's 250, 300 pounds, I am going to recommend some light walking for them, or an elliptical or bicycle, something that's a little bit less impact on their joints.
Yeah.
But I'm always also going to recommend weight training for every single person that comes along. Unless you have some severe issue that I would still want to talk to the doctor about. Because I would start, I had patients who were 70 and 80 years old that had never lifted a weight in their life. And I would start them on strength training, and they would thank me all the time because they were able to do so much more. And that's sure, they're starting with 3 pounds, 5 pounds, and you always want to start where you are. However, to build that muscle, that strength is just so important.
Okay, so that kind of brings me to my next question. What does that look like if somebody, so obviously walking, stretching, things like that is really good for anybody, right? Mm-hmm. But strength training, what is that? I mean, is that just bicep curls? Is that, lunges? Like, what, how do you kind of make those benefits? Yes, it is. Okay.
It is all those things. One of my clients, she is probably 75, 80 pounds overweight. She probably weighs around 250. And she does my 90-day program. And of course, there's stuff that we have to modify for her. However, and she thought I was crazy at the beginning. She's like, Genis, are you kidding me? But I will say, she said, I'm glad I do this at home. I would never do this in a gym. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that I can try these exercises at home and no one can see me but me. But she's overcome so much because I'm challenging her to do different things and things that she would have never even tried. And so, but yeah, it's doing bicep curls and it's doing some squats and lunges. And for those of you who are going, there's no way I can do a squat or a lunge. Guess what? Everything is modifiable, and we modify it to you and what you can do. Because always my question to people is, do you sit on a toilet and sit in a chair? And the answer is typically yes. And then, so Michael, then you can do a squat and a lunge, because you need those exercises to help strengthen you to be able to do those two activities.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And I remember talking to you before, you said even with like bicep curls, it's carrying in those groceries from the car, right?
Yeah.
And just some of those simple tasks. Okay, so where do you recommend, I mean, we kind of touched on this, but maybe you can kind of expound upon it. Where do you recommend people start if they haven't done anything for years or they've never done anything? What is it? Is it better for them to work with a personal trainer? Is it better for them to like figure it out on their own? I mean, what's kind of the best path for them?
For me, I like people to start working out with a personal trainer of some sort so that it reduces injury when it comes to the client. And then B, then they can get the direction of what they're supposed to be doing. Because so many people, if you haven't been exercising on a regular basis or you're someone who never have, you get all excited about exercising. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this and it's going to be awesome. And I've gone from never exercising to now I'm going to do 5 days a week. Well, guess what? The chances of you being successful, I hate to break it to you, are going to be a lot slimmer. Just because I love the enthusiasm. However, when it's something that you're not necessarily used to doing, it's easy to push it to the side. Or if you get, a little bit stiff and sore, you'll be like, ooh, this isn't for me. But that's where you need the coach to help coach you through all of that stuff. And so I definitely recommend starting out, if someone's just starting out, 3 days a week max, and put it on the calendar to be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and work from there and work on building yourself up. Because when you make those accomplishments of 3 days a week and you're excited about that, then it's so much easier to be able to increase the amount of days that you will fit in exercise into your day.
Yeah. So how does someone prioritize exercise in their life? I mean, because obviously them going to their doctor and the doctor saying like, hey, you are at risk for cardiovascular disease, you're at risk for, you're obese, you're overweight, you have high blood pressure and cholesterol and all these different things. How does someone, take all this and like actually apply it and find that motivation inside themselves to say, hey, I matter, this is important for me and the longevity of my life and the vitality and just all of those different pieces. Do you have some recommendations for them on that?
The biggest thing that people can do is treat exercise as if it were an appointment with the doctor. And write it into your schedule and make sure that you have it down to the hour that you're going to start your exercise. So for myself, I work out at 5 a.m. and that is early, and it's not my favorite time to exercise. However, I know that's the time I'm going to get it done. And my husband and I work out together. So that way he's my accountability partner. I'm his accountability partner. And we motivate each other to get up and get going. And I will say there's some days at 5 a.m. it's just like, oh my gosh, this is the hardest. And I've walked away from a workout and, to be honest, going, okay, I get to claim today I did it, is what I get to claim today. It wasn't a great workout, but I got up and did it. And then there's other days like today, I had a fantastic workout and, it was fabulous. So it just depends. But I schedule it into my day because I also know myself. If I think, oh, I'll do it later today, I'll do it at 2. Oh, I'll do it at 4. I'll do it when my husband comes home from work. It doesn't ever happen. I have to do it in the morning. So when you can realize that about yourself, it is actually more motivating going, if I don't do it now, it's not going to happen. And I truly want it to happen. So get my butt out of bed and get to the gym and work out.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any other words of wisdom for people? Anything that you'd like to share with people to get started or maybe to maximize their benefits? So we talked a lot about like the beginners, but maybe give some tips for someone who has been working out and maybe wants to amp up those results and get better results for 2019.
Well, for the person who's been exercising on a regular basis, if you're not seeing the results that you're looking for, or you go to the gym and you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you're just kind of aimlessly walking around, then it's time definitely to hire a personal trainer into your life. But I did want to touch on one thing about when it comes to mindset and weight loss. And this is for people who are trying to lose that same 10, 20, 50, 80, 100 pounds that they've been year after year. New Year's is right around the corner. And everyone, losing weight is the number one New Year's resolution. Yes. So the only problem is when we make it a New Year's resolution, 95% of the time it doesn't work. And until people forget about, I want to lose 10 pounds and focus on the fact that they want to change their mindset, they want to live a healthier lifestyle, that's when they are going to see the results. When you can focus on that, I'm going to do this healthy lifestyle for the rest of my life, take small baby steps every single day to live healthier, that's when you will see weight loss. And when you don't focus on the scale so much, that's when you're going to see weight loss for sure.
Yeah. So that kind of brings up another point. Sorry, I'm throwing a lot of extra things at you. Is it important for someone to, let's say, know their numbers? So know what their weight is, know what their BMI, know what their water weight is. Is that important, or is it more important for them to just get up and get moving?
So I'm going to say it's more important to know your cholesterol, your HDLs, LDLs, triglycerides, your blood sugar. Those are the numbers that you really need to know and worry about. When it comes to the scale, I want people to focus more on, are you losing inches? How do your clothes fit? How do you feel? Even with BMI can even be inaccurate, and more so on if you are an athlete, because muscle weighs more than fat does, and you could get a 5'10" guy who's a football player, but he weighs 220 and he is 2% body fat. Well, a BMI is going to show him to be obese. And obviously look at him and go, yeah, he's far from obese. So I like people just to focus more on how they feel. And if they want to step on the scale, okay. However, it can be just so disappointing if you've been really working at it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, the scale shows me nothing. And I've been working at it so hard. And again, that's where all of a sudden the mindset shifts to, why am I doing this? Instead of focusing on all this other stuff.
Yeah. So I recently been working with a few people, and actually starting this month, I've had several people start working with me in the month of December. And I was like, and you kind of touched on this, I was like, these people are going to be more successful because they're not waiting for January 1st to start something. You know, they're starting to take action now, which I just think is so important. But I was working with someone a couple weeks ago, and she's like, oh, I've only lost half a pound. And I test their body fat percentage, and she had only lost half a pound, but she went down two percentages of body fat. So I was like, you're putting on way more muscle. You have a lot more lean muscle mass than you actually do body fat. And so then she got really excited, and that gave her the additional motivation to keep up the exercise and stuff, because she was able to see those results, versus kind of what you were saying is stepping on the scale and, oh, I've only lost half a pound. You know, I have, you know, because a lot of people come in and say, I haven't seen my doctor in 3 years because he's just going to tell me I need to lose weight. And I'm like, but there's so much more that happens. Yep, so much more. So, okay, for people who are interested in learning more about what you do, Janice, or how can they get in touch with you? Do you have any opportunities for them to work with you, any challenges, anything like that coming up for the new year?
So I do. So people can contact me, and I'll put this in the comments once you post the Zoom. They can go to my website, janicrthornton.com, and sign up. And right now, this month, I'm through the end of December, I'm offering 30-minute free wellness consult. So take advantage of that, because starting in January, I'll be charging $97 for the consult. But the deal is, you walk away with, we look at what's working for you, what's not working for you, and then I come up with a plan, help you come up with a plan of what's going to work. And then it's up to you. You choose if you want to work with me or not. I do have a 90-day information thing that I do. That is the great thing about the 90-day transformation is everything is done from an app on the phone. So it's going to help you. You get to work out whenever you want to. It's very convenient for you. Minimal equipment, so you can work out at home or at the gym, whatever works. And then in January, if we connect on Facebook, I'm doing this actually just through my personal page, is just a 31-day challenge. And it's 31 days of coming up with different ways to become healthy. And some of them are really easy little things for you to do each day and give you something to think about each day.
Awesome.
But I'll also leave my email, and then if people want to just direct message me, they can do that as well. Because since I'm in your group, they can leave me messages that way. Yeah,
great. Okay, thank you so much. So just as a recap, if you guys want to get a hold of Janice, you can go to her website, janicrthornton.com. She has a free 30-minute consultation for you guys. You guys can talk to her about personal training and things like that from someone who's been in this industry for a really long time. Also, a 31-day challenge on her Facebook group of 31 different ways to become healthy. and then also a 90-day transformation program. So that is awesome. I'm so excited, and you guys can connect with her. She's a great resource and a great friend. So thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Yes.